What's up, y'all? This is Brave, and I'm back for another review of Ready to Love. I know it has been a minute since I reviewed this show, but I had to come back and talk about this little getaway that Tommy done put together for the singles, okay? And let's jump right into it. So I'm not really going to touch on what happened in part one so much, but we really going to get into part two. So we start this off with William going home because his name was brought up in some mess, okay? Now, do I feel like William was really a part of the whole situation of trying to get Koshia and Mika out? Not exactly. Y'all may look at me crazy for this, but what I gathered from this whole little situation is that this happened week one. To me, it seemed like this all happened week one because it doesn't make sense for it to be William, and Dominique all in cahoots to get Koshia and Mika out. Especially considering Dominique tried to have a thing with Mika later on down the line. So I'm going to assume that initially, when they met these ladies, those were the two that stood out like sore thumbs that they didn't care for. Let's not forget how Mika came in episode 1. Baby girl was asking a bunch of questions and drilling them. Okay, it made some of the men uncomfortable. Koshia, let's not act like Koshia didn't say reckless stuff about the men in the beginning. Because y'all remember she was only feeling LaRon. That was the only guy she was interested in. She was over there smiling in the other guy's face because she could have possibly been up for elimination that day. But moving on. LaRon is holding on to some feelings that he had, and I'm just like, why are you still worried about people getting out Koshia when she ain't even here no more? You need to be focusing on somebody else. Make that make sense. So, jumping back into this episode, William went home. This makes Patrice super emotional, so she decides to dip out and go upstairs, lock herself in her room. Vanessa tried to check on her, but Patrice needed a moment alone. So next we see a couple of the guys having a conversation, right? And they were basically talking about how, anybody could have went home, right? Here comes Chaz. Chaz is feeling like, this is too much for him because he's dating all these women. Yeah, everybody except for Maya. And basically the ladies want him to choose already. Here's the thing, Chaz. You gotta drop some of these heifers. And if we want to be completely honest, there's no point in you entertaining Patrice. Because at the end of the day, if you wanted to save her number, you would have. But at the same time, I get what Chaz is doing. He got to play the game. If he was to tell Patrice, you know what? I already have my connections. I don't think I need to connect with you. Y'all know she would have put his name in the hat to send him home in the ladies' lounge. You already know that she would have done that. So then when it comes to Mika, baby, Mika ain't gave that man no time of day, no play, this entire episode and the last one. She's been worried about Justin and that connection. Mika is not on your radar. Let her go. You only have two possibilities. You got Vanessa and you got Rashina, sir. So stop playing. Now, speaking of Rashina, we see her talk to the PE teacher. What is his name? Justin. They have a conversation, and she is super supportive of him moving forward with Mika because she already sees the way they interact with each other, and it's clear that they have a very strong connection in comparison to Rashina and Justin. You know what? I said, listen, I have so much respect for Rashina because she knows when to bow out gracefully. Okay? She knows when to step back and be like, you know what? This ain't for me. Let me go ahead and move on. Now, let's go ahead and slide on over to Chaz because he decides that he wants to make his rounds to Vanessa, right? Y'all, I'm trying to figure out why baby girl was tearing up. I said, what are you crying for? Then Vanessa, she's feeling away. But baby girl, you've been feeling away since you got there. Here's the thing. You didn't know that Chaz had all the connections that he did. Because let's not forget, when Chaz had her over there to meet his friends, it was her and Alexis. She was shocked that Alexis was there. Hell, we all was shocked that Alexis was there. But at the end of the day, she was like, why is Alexis here? because she thought she was number one spot. Now you get to this house, this man is flirting in everybody else's face. Now here's my thing about Vanessa. Baby girl, when you saw him with Mika, you stormed away, you went to go get you a drink, and you was over there pissed off. So when he tried to go over there, have a conversation with you, you was still pissed off, okay? So what has he done? He's distanced himself from you. Because one thing that you should have done, Vanessa, was came in here and played it cool. It didn't matter if he chose you, if he didn't choose you. Either way, you should have tried to play it cool the entire time. Because let me tell you what happened. Because you had that attitude, he stopped fooling with you. And all the other girls, they not over there getting mad. They having a good time with him while you over there pouting in the corner. Because let's not forget that at the same time that you keep saying that Chaz didn't spend time with you, you never walked up on him either. So that works both ways, baby girl. Because please know that some of them other ladies, when they saw Chaz and they wanted to have a conversation with him or whatever, they will pull him to the side. They're going to make sure that they get their time with the man that they actually are interested in. But you so busy trying to get chased and it ain't happening. So as these two are having this conversation, right, you can clearly tell that they are not on the same page. You know, it doesn't really seem like he feeling her at the moment because every time they have a conversation now, it starts off with her bringing up the other women, her feeling like she's not a priority. And, like, I get it. I see her point. That, you know, you want to be the girl who's chosen. But also at the same time, your other connection got sent home, okay? So now you're all in for Chaz. But he is not about to drop his other connections for you just like that. He's not. Baby, at this point, Chaz is upset. You know, he mentioned in this conversation that he would go home like twice. I was like, oh, okay, so now we're making threats that we're going to leave Chaz? Oh, okay. Here's my thing when it comes to Vanessa. The one thing that I really wanted her to do was not talk about the other women and just be like, oh, Chaz, let's go have a good time. Let's go talk on the lake. Let's go do something. Actually spend time with him instead of whining about how he's spending time with everybody else and he's not paying attention to me. When he does pay attention to you, you argue with him. Make it make sense. And I get it. Everybody wants Chaz to make a choice. But here's the thing. I blame the Ready to Love producers as well as the Ready to Love audience because this show has had a shift and nobody has called it out. First of all, when we were first watching Ready to Love, not that first season, maybe not even the second season, whatever season when they brought in an equal amount of people, right? First of all, by the time we got to like episode 3, 4, people were already locking down who they were interested in, as they already had like a top 2. Everybody did. Nowadays, everybody wants to go on dates with every single person. We don't have time for that. Now we love to waste people's time. This person say they don't want kids. Why are you going on dates with them when you do? That's what continues to happen. But like I said, back in the day, when we were watching seasons 3 and 4, I feel like people were more locked in and actually going through the process to potentially date each other after this show. And what I mean by that is, why are we seeing people having certain people meet their friends and we've never seen them go on a single date together? Or we have someone meeting people's exes and they've only been on one date and they don't even really like each other. But you say somebody else is your number one connection. Like, it's not making sense. Like, it is not making any sense that Chaz had Alexis meet his friends and not Rashina. And I really hate that now, because everybody wants to stay on the show. They try to have a connection with every little person. That makes no sense. That is not what this show is supposed to be built on. I feel like there needs to be a revamp of this show. Because I feel like whatever season that was with Camille and Cornelius, that right there was a real big transition for what it used to be. Because when those two were on the show, people were upset because they were locked in. And I'm just like, how are you mad when the whole premise of this show is for two people to lock in, meet each other's friends, meet each other's family, see if they get along enough to want to continue dating outside of this process? And now everybody's like, no, you got to date everybody. Give everybody a shot. No, you don't. The same way how Mika, they was trying to send her home because she was only interested in talking to the men who aligned with what she wanted. How the fuck are we mad at that? I don't understand. Oh, let me just go ahead and move on. Because we started off talking about Chaz and Vanessa. We're going to go ahead and move on. Because I'm getting a little bit off topic. But it's just frustrating watching this show and what it's transitioned to be. So, Vanessa, she goes outside, right? After she talked to this man. And she talks to Maya and Rashina. So they're confused because Chaz has stormed off or whatever. I guess he stormed outside. And Rashina, she had just like watched him walk away. And was like, what's going on with him? So Vanessa, she's telling him what happened. And she's like, I told him that we're all confused. Vanessa, no offense, but here's the thing. You should not be worried about the other girls, okay? You refuse to spend time with him because you want to talk about the other women. Cut that out. So now Vanessa feels like, he was gaslighting her and she's expecting too much out of him. Yes, you are. You're expecting too much out of a man that you don't really know. I will agree with that. So next thing you know, y'all, we see Justin. He wasn't feeling well the next morning. Maybe he drunk too much. And Mika tried to take care of this man. She's over here fixing his hair. And it looks like these two have slept in the same room. I will say, seeing them on this trip, they do seem like they would make a cute couple. It really does look like they've made a connection at this point. Here we go with LaRon, y'all. Baby, when it comes to some seafood, he is going to be somewhere in the vicinity because he smelled that crawfish boil and came running, okay? So they're having this whole crawfish boil. Everybody's outside except for Patrice and Chaz. So Patrice, she goes to check on Chaz and he was packing up his stuff. Yo, this man is up there crying, okay? Because he just want to go home. He want to be around his people. He don't want to be in this environment. It's eating at him that the ladies feel like he's confusing them and that's not his intention. And he just want to be around his family. I said, whoa, okay, big baby. So this process is way too much for him. So he decides to leave. He feels like he's misunderstood. And here's my thing. Mr. Chaz, you wrong for this. You decided that you was gonna leave, knowing that you drove up there with some other people. Now, how they gonna get home? Everybody got a pile into the Sprinter now. I see what you did there. You just didn't want them Negroes in your car no more. I get it. But we gonna go ahead and move on. So Patrice, she goes outside. She tells everybody that Chaz left the trip. Oh, so now Vanessa is like, oh, did he already leave? Is there anything that we can say? Girl, you said enough. Let him talk to somebody else. Now, Rashina, she's feeling some type of way that Patrice was the woman who was there to pray for him and be there for him before he left because, she felt like they had a stronger relationship than him and Patrice. And I'm just like, listen, Rashina, you making it more catty than it has to be. She just happened to be in the house and went to go check on him. Please relax, okay? Now, I will say this. I felt bad for Rashina in that situation because she's completely blindsided by this. Because the last time she checked, when it came to Chaz, he was over there eating strawberries off her body. So for him to just up and leave, no explanation, is very weird. So after they said all this about Chaz, everybody got real quiet. Then they decided to go inside, have a good time. Alonzo traded in his bonnet for a pair of skates. Rashina and Maya, they over here throwing ass left and right. And then we go outside for a whole little fireworks show. Now that was cute. So Patrice actually realizes that her only connection is Alonzo at this point. And I'm just like, yeah, I'm glad that you realized that, because it made no sense the way you were thrusting yourself at Chaz. It was real desperate and weird. Now, moving on, we do see Maya and LaRon. And I feel like LaRon gets the real version of Maya, because every time these two talk, she's like, oh yeah, you like partying, I like partying and going out and stuff. And I'm just like, when you was talking to the other guys, you had a whole different vibe. So I'm still trying to figure out who little Miss Maya is. They decide to take over the couch, watch a movie or whatever. Next thing you know, we move on to Bonnet Boy, aka Alonzo. He went to Patrice's room to watch a movie, and this man had one plate of snacks. So, were those just for yourself? Because I don't think there was enough on that plate for you and Patrice. And of course, we then saw Justin and Mika in bed together. Baby, they look real comfy, okay? They look like they together. So, in the next morning, Justin goes to talk to Rashina, just to check in on her because Chaz left. And she's feeling a little sad and lost because she doesn't know what's going on with Chaz. Now, I'll say this. I really do love their friendship. The friendship between Justin and Rashina, I really like it because he checks on her, she checks on him. Even though they're not romantically connected, they still are good friends. So, like I said, y'all, everybody had to pile into the Sprinter and go home. So, then we saw LaRon and Maya. They go out on a date. Again, these two have been hitting it off for a minute. We saw Alonzo and Patrice. They went out on a date. They did like some bungee fitness. Now, I will say the bungee fitness does look fun. Has any of my followers or subscribers, been to a bungee class? Is that fun? I'm just wondering. Nonetheless, when they were doing the little bungee class, the only thing I kept thinking was, why is Patrice doing all this yelling? Girl, shut up. So, we actually did see a little bit of Alonzo's vulnerable side. He talks about his rocky relationship with his dad and how, his dad, I think he passed away. And the last time he talked to him, it was on his deathbed, something like that. And Alonzo, he's focused on preventative care and this whole little thing about him and his dad. I'm glad that he's able to be open with Patrice because he clearly feels comfortable enough with her. Now, moving on, we get to the lounge. So, Chaz, he talks about how, he went to the getaway with 3 connections, planned to drop off some of them, but unfortunately he gained a connection. So he talks about how he was overwhelmed at the retreat, and that's why he left. LaRon, of course, he's going to big up Maya. Justin is only checking for Mika. And Alonzo is locked in with Patrice, even though she still wants a piece of Chaz. Who they are not feeling. Justin ain't feeling Patrice. LaRon ain't feeling Vanessa. Alonzo and LaRon are not feeling Rashina. So Chaz, he finally opens up his mouth and he says that he's still connected with Rashina and Vanessa. So now Chaz is in charge of making the decision of if it's going to be Rashina going home or sticking around. So we finally see Rashina and Chaz go on this date. Now, y'all, one thing that I noticed is that this process has aged Chaz. I'm like, it's only been a couple of weeks and Chaz is looking rough in the face. Nonetheless, this conversation is going around in circles. It's going around the mulberry bush for a minute. But then Rashina was like, Negro, get to the point, okay? Why am I here? So when he ends up mentioning that they had a lounge today with Tommy, she cut him off. It was like, listen, I gotta get some stuff off my chest. She didn't like how he left the getaway, and then he didn't even text her to say what was going on. And, just to let her know this had nothing to do with her. Now, I must say that I would be so pissed off if I'm interested in a man, he completely dips out of a trip. I don't know if you just left the trip or if you left the show, you didn't reply to my text because I'm pretty sure she texted that man. You not saying nothing? Yeah, that's a problem. Because the reason why you stormed up out of here is because you thought you had more connections than you actually did, number one. Because the fact that you was walking around that house with 4 supposed connections is ridiculous. Mika was not your connection, okay? You should have been dropped her because she never even paid attention the whole time to you, okay? While y'all was on this little getaway. Patrice, I get it. You wanted to still be Mr. Nice Guy, but you should have been honest with her and said, you know what? I'm focusing on my 2 connections. It's too late in the game for us to try to connect. Because let me tell y'all something, Patrice got on my nerves. Whenever they mentioned Chaz, she kept saying, oh, I'm throwing myself in the ring for that one. Girl, go focus on Alonzo and his bonnet. Like I said, he should have focused on Vanessa and Rashina. You know what? Mainly Rashina. Because Rashina played it cool. Rashina didn't care if he smiled at the other ladies. When she spent time with him, she spent time with him. And then she kept it pushing. Okay? But since he decided to play in her face, she said, hold up, partner. I'm about to tell you this now. The whole time I was sitting up here listening to you talk around the mulberry bush, baby, I already knew in my head I was exiting stage left. I'm not about to sit up here and play with you. So what I want to do for myself, I'm going to self-eliminate. I said, Rashina, like I said earlier, she knows how to bow out gracefully and keep it moving. Okay, now I'm really hoping that by the time we get to the reunion, Rashina is in a happy relationship. I really do. Because she understood the assignment. If my partner is here, I'm going to rock with him. If he ain't, baby, we going to go ahead and move on. And I loved what she said. Good wishes to you and best wishes to me. I said, oh, I got to keep that line for myself. But y'all, that was Ready to Love. Go ahead and like, comment, subscribe to my channel. Let me know what y'all thought about the episode. And I'll talk to y'all on my next review. Bye, guys.